Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look at what we're discussing. First of all, we got to discuss the test match because day 2 came to a conclusion, and if you talk about Pakistan, I think they have shown some great grit and determination. Not only the first session belonged to Pakistan when they had to get Australia all out. I think they did pretty well. A decent performance from Amir Jamal, picking up 6 wickets. His career best, of course, a debut test match, taking a 5-wicket haul is always special. So Pakistan did pretty well, and that delivery from Khurram Shahzad to get rid of Mitchell Marsh on the 90s. Homeboy denied 100 that the whole crowd was waiting for. Of course, he's a local superstar there, isn't he? But that didn't happen, so that's a bit disappointing for Marsh and for Australia. But the fact is that they still got enough runs on the board. But for Pakistan, I think they started off brilliantly well, because the key initially was to make sure that you negotiate that new ball swing and that new ball bounce and ability, because after that we saw that the wicket can be pretty decent to bat on. And although Imam and Abdullah did pretty well, but I think Abdullah Shafiq, the way he got out was something that was very disappointing after a person has spent so much time at the crease, and the way he was getting those runs, I really expected something big from Abdullah Shafiq. But just on the brink of that, I think, phase where you call that you need to have a bit of temperament, he just tried one down the ground, just was trying to flick it because he wanted to survive a stumping, and ended up getting caught at leg slip to Nathan Lyon and caught by David Warner. But that being said, Imam and Shan Masood, Shan accelerated, otherwise the run rate was miserable at that time. It was 2 point something, but Shan did pretty well. Imam was okay as well as soon as he started hitting the ball well. Of course, then they lost Shan Masood at a very, very important juncture, because almost at the close of play, when day is ending, you expect something that you need resilience and take it to the next day, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. And Shan Masood was caught behind courtesy of a brilliant delivery from Mitchell Starc, and it was outside the off stump. We could have let it go, but I think just that adrenaline kicking in and just that 1 millisecond of a judgmental error. But then Khurram Shahzad did pretty well as a night watchman, so he made sure that Babar Azam's wicket is protected when Pakistan come out to bat. Still more than 300 runs to go, and I think still Pakistan have got their work cut out. It has to be something big now from the remaining 3-4 recognized batters. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult going into the second innings, because I saw the marks as well, and I thought that Nathan Lyon is going to be an amazing bowler on these marks. He already is. Then, of course, we move on and we discuss some more things from the world of cricket. After the test match, we do discuss Pakistan women's team as well, who have lost their second match against New Zealand. New Zealand take an unassailable 2-0 lead in the one-day series now. Pakistan were very close, just at 1 wicket margin, but New Zealand hung on to their nerves and won this match. Then, of course, we move on. We discuss Pakistan under-19 as well, whose match is underway, and there's been a bit of a struggle right now with wickets up and down. But then again, we're hoping for them to just go through this target and just qualify for the next round. So we'll talk about that in detail. And then, of course, in the last part of the show, we'll be discussing hockey. Of course, not just Pakistan that we were discussing overall, but overall the Junior Hockey World Cup as well in detail. So that's what we're discussing on the show. Time now to introduce our guests. First of all, in studios, we've been joined by cricket commentator and expert Kashif Shabir. Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, thank you very much.
Great to have you. We've also been joined by cricket expert and analyst Sabir Hussain. Assalamu alaikum, Sabir, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm fine, thank you.
And we've also been joined by sports expert Ali Abbas. Assalamu alaikum, Ali, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Now let's take a look at the highlights of day 2 and then we continue.
Pakistan were on 132 for the loss of 2 wickets in their first innings against Australia at the stumps of second day of first match. Opener Imamul Haq and Khurram Shahzad remained a promising hope at the crease on 38 and 7 runs. Shafiq scored 42 while skipper Shan Masood made 30 runs. Mitchell Starc and Nathan Lyon bagged 1 wicket apiece for Australia. Earlier, Australia bowled out for 487 runs on the second day of first test.
Brilliant bowling.
David Warner remained top scorer with 164 runs. Meanwhile, Mitchell Marsh scored quick-fire 90 runs. For Pakistan, Amir Jamal claimed 6 wickets to wrap up the home side. Fast bowler Amir Jamal became the 14th Pakistani cricketer to achieve a 5-wicket haul on his test debut.
Taken, beautifully held, and that is 5 on debut. Yeah, nicely taken. Salman picks up his second, and it's 6 on debut for Jamal. Brilliant bowling.
He is also the only second Pakistani pacer after Arif Butt in 1964 to achieve this feat on Australian soil. The other debutant for Pakistan, Khurramshahzad, picked 2 wickets.
Well, there you have it. That is Pakistan's bowling. I understand the batting wasn't there, but just to be particular about it, we've had some notable performances from Abdullah Shafiq, Imamul Haq, some grit and determination. A quick fire cameo by Shan Masood. I wish he would have continued, because tomorrow it would have been a very dangerous Shan Masood against the Australian bowling lineup. But visible signs of frustration were there for Australia, because they were expecting to pick up early wickets. That didn't happen. Kashif, how do you summarize day 2, especially Pakistan, first of all, cleaning the remaining Australian wickets and then going out to bat?
I think the fear that we had that Pakistan pace is not as good as the Australians, it just faded away, because the way the both debutants, they bowled it extremely well, and especially Amir Jamal. I think Amir Jamal is a very good find for Pakistan. The good thing about Amir Jamal, which I can see, is his aggression. He is an aggressive bowler, and aggression is required for any pace bowler. Secondly, he can swing, he can seam the ball, and with the passage of time, I'm sure he will learn the art of swing more, and that will be a very good sign for the Pakistan pace attack. Regarding the batting, I think Pakistan has been somewhat slow, on the slower side, because we were not expecting this kind of batting from the Pakistani openers, especially because we have been talking about the Pakistan way. As the other teams, they are accelerating and they are increasing their run rate. So we were expecting the same coming out from Pakistan, but that did not happen. I think that was the main reason which exerted an extra pressure on Shan Masood. And Shan Masood was a bit more optimistic, bit more aggressive, because this kind of aggression was not required from Shan Masood, especially the ball which he played, on which he got out, that was quite away from the off stump, I think 7th or 8th off stump, and that he could have easily left that ball alone. And especially at this particular time, when it is almost, the day is almost at the end, and you know that the pressure can be exerted on the new batsman, so he could have avoided that shot. Otherwise, I think Pakistani batters, because we know that Pakistan has a good batting lineup, and still 3 or 4 recognized batsmen are still there waiting for their turn. I'm sure Pakistan is going to have a very good batting lineup, and Pakistan is in a position where they can manage runs very easily.
But Sabir, how do you see Pakistan's position so far in this test match?
I mean, they have been, quite good, I would say, kind of a satisfactory performance on day 2. If you leave David Warner's inning and Mitchell Marsh, 90 runs, I mean, 270 runs, if you deduct these kind of runs from 487, the rest of the batting lineup basically struggled against young Pakistani, a bowling lineup. So the matter of the fact that let's appreciate the bowling, Pakistan's bowling. I mean, especially particularly I would say Amir Jamal. I mean, the day basically he was included in the test squad, especially for this particular tour. I mean, I was fancy chancing the chances of Amir Jamal's bowling. Basically, he has been the bowler basically who performed extremely well, especially in domestic circuit, and he has been touring Pakistan A side, Pakistan Shines as well. So when I was quite hopeful as far as his individual performance was concerned. But I mean, on this particular day too, Pakistan I think bowled really well. But I mean, the inning of Mitchell Marsh was the difference. I mean, they could have been bundled out. I mean, 390, 400 maybe, but 7 to 80 runs maybe more for Pakistan. But the way basically Pakistan batted, I mean, against defensive kind of a mindset, I mean, Imamul Haq should have I think played a little bit positive, I would say. But again, you never know about these kind of innings. And so now I think Imamul Haq needs to basically go big. The kind of deliveries he has basically faced, I mean, basically he basically understood the conditions, the pitch conditions as well. He knows the importance of his basically innings. I mean, 53 overs Pakistan batted and only 14 boundaries from Abdullah Shafiq, Shan Masood and Imamul Haq. I mean, so this basically shows the kind of intent Pakistan were having. I mean, so it will be important for Pakistan basically tomorrow to play some kind of a positive kind of intent, I would say, because Babar Azam, Saud Shakil as well. So a long batting line of Pakistan we have in this particular test match. So basically they need to play a little bit aggressive, I would say, or I would say sensible batting, not defensive too much. I mean, the way basically they batted today.
Well, that's I think one pertinent way to talk about positivity, and that is to make sure that you go for runs as well, because you just don't want to end up consuming 150 deliveries and scoring only 20-30 runs and then giving your wicket away. So I think rather getting quick runs is also because at the end of the day you have to consider that still more than 300 runs of a trail is remaining, and you've got to get as close as you can without losing wickets. Ali Abbas, how would you summarize day 2 for Pakistan in this first test match?
Yeah, so like I think I would agree with our panelists that Mitch Marsh's innings was one that definitely played a huge role. I think we would be a little bit naive if we started judging the intensity of the way Pakistan started today, because when you get hit for 487 in the first innings, you're staring defeat down the barrel, and while you need to score runs, you also need to take a lot of time out of the game. And while I do feel Imam Ulhaq was on the slower side, I understand why he played that way. But yes, I agree with you as well as my fellow guest panelist over here that Imam needs to go big and needs to convert this 30-40 into maybe an 80, 90 or 100. But what I really like today, Ahmad, and obviously everyone is talking about Amir Jamal, I like Shan Masood's intent. He's the captain of the team. He averages 30. He's been criticized for runs, but he's totally put that all aside. He came, he accelerated, he took the pressure off of Imam Ulhaq, and he got a few runs on the board. And I think if Shan Masood plays with this intent throughout the World Test Championship, he's going to free up Babar Azam, Imam Ulhaq, and Abdullah Shafiq, which is a stat-heavy opening order. If Shan Masood can continue to play these innings of 30, 40, 50 at a strike rate of 80 and 90, it's going to make the batsmen around him feel a lot better. The reason why Imam Ulhaq sort of just kept going at his own pace without playing any rash shot was Shan Masood, on the other hand, was running aggressively and he was playing aggressively. Okay, he got out to a really good delivery. He needs to convert these 30s and 40s into 70s and 80s. But I like the intent. This is the intent that I really like to see from a Pakistani captain. He has put it down there that, hey team, I'm going to be playing aggressively. I'm going to be taking on everyone like this. Now it's your turn to return the favor.
Well, like I said, that it has to be somebody who steps up now, and it had to be either one or both of Imam and Abdullah. But since Abdullah's dismissal was very unfortunate and came at a very unfortunate time when both of them were looking pretty well, it has to be Imam ul Haq now that who makes sure that he gets more than 100, because that really is going to count and ease a bit of pressure on the likes of Babar Azam, Sarfaraz Ahmed, Saud Shakil, who are yet to bat. So any runs from up the order, I think 100, 150 or even more from Imam ul Haq is certainly the need of the hour from him and from Pakistan's perspective as well. Kashif, Australian bowlers were a bit rattled at the start. Even the commentators were saying that if they can make sure that the ball loses that shine and that new ball swing, then obviously they've got a chance. But what I think the technical error was that in this part of the world, the ball is very rarely getting rough. I mean, even after 50 overs, I saw almost a shiny red cherry, and the Australians were using it to their advantage. And then I think it makes a big difference when you've got a trio bowling with a speed of more than 140 k's.
Exactly, and I think the main reason for all this was the wicket, because probably the Australians, they were not expecting this kind of outcome from the drop-in wicket, because we were also expecting the wicket to behave in a different manner to support the bowlers, especially the pace attack, but it did not have that kind of an effect on the wicket. If you talk about the Pakistani bowling, Shaheen Shah Afridi also did not get the required support which he was looking for from the wicket. So it also disturbed him as well. Later on, because the Pakistani bowlers, they can swing the ball better as compared to the other bowlers, and the reverse, they can reverse the ball also far better than the Australian. Maybe that is the reason why Amir Jamal and Khurram Shehzad, they got the required support from the wicket. But the Australians, they hung on to the main task of pitching the ball at the right place. That is very important, because we all know that they are not big swingers of the ball. They cannot swing too much, but they can be very consistent when you talk about the delivery pitching, and that is exactly what they did. And that is very teasing for the batsman, because every time if the ball is pitching at the right spot, at the right position, then it becomes difficult for the batsman. That is the reason, I guess, that when the ball was pitching on the foot, they were blocking the balls. They were bogged down. All the batters, they were bogged down, mainly because the ball was consistently pitching on the right direction. And Nathan Lyon, he is a supreme bowler. He is a bowler who can spin the ball at any surface. I think he can spin the ball on the glass as well, and this is exactly what he has done. And he exerted that pressure on the batters, which gave some room to the pace attack. And then all the Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazelwood, and Pat Cummins, they bowled exceptionally well. I think on this wicket, Pakistan should have got runs at a run rate of around 4 or 4.5, because the kind of wicket which it is supporting the batters, and it is a very supportive wicket for the batters. I'm sure when Babar Azam,
we're just going towards a short break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back. Right, welcome back. And I think just before the break, we're discussing the right lengths to hit in Australia. Now, if you talk about the length, I also saw after the day ended, Alex Carey was talking to the commentators too. He was talking to Adam Gilchrist, and although he said that I've not bowled a single ball in my life, I've just been keeping wickets. But he highlighted something what Gilchrist actually figured out, and he said that the length has got to be a touch fuller on this surface. And he also commented that some of the Australian bowlers would also want to get into rhythm after a couple of overs of a spell, because it is difficult transitioning from that one-day T20 mentality towards the right length in Test cricket. So I think because Kashif, before the break you were talking about the right length in Australia, I think Gilchrist really pictured it that you got to be a touch fuller, and that's where when Amir Jamal and Khurram Shahzad started pitching the ball up, they were getting much more from the surface.
Exactly, that is the main point, because if you're going to pitch the ball on a fuller length, it is going to swing and seam, and that will give support to the bowler. But at the same time, if the ball is not pitched at the exact right spot, that will give an advantage to the batters. They can drive the ball very easily to wherever they want to do. But this is exactly what was missing in the Pakistan squad, because Abdullah Shafiq and Imamul Haq, they missed the trick in the beginning. They were getting the opportunity from the different bowlers, but they did not utilize that opportunity, and that exerted an extra pressure on the batting lineup. And that is the reason why Shan Masood had to start with an aggressive approach, which exactly he did.
Absolutely. Sabir, the same concept now, because initially what I saw that Australians tried bowling a bit short, but that didn't work. But occasionally when their fast bowlers got the ball to pitch up, it was doing much more from the surface. One of the particular reasons why Pakistan went a bit more successful today.
Absolutely, we must appreciate the kind of defensive technique basically Pakistani openers showed against the mighty Australian bowling lineup. So that was the reason basically they were struggling. Adam Gilchrist basically rightly picked up. You have to basically bowl a little bit fuller, and Shaheen Shah Afridi basically bowled a little bit fuller to Usman Khwaja as well. Usman Khwaja basically his basically feet were nowhere near. But that was the reason basically he got out. Sarfraz Ahmed picked up a wonderful catch. So Amir Jamal is the man, and Khurram Shahzad. Heads off to Khurram Shahzad. Obviously both of them were making a debut, playing away from home, and obviously it could be a defining moment for their careers as well.
But Sabir, we've done a touch evil. A guy on debut and straight away you send him to be a night watchman facing 140 lethal deliveries from Mitchell Starc.
And hats off to him, still he faced 18 deliveries and got a boundary as well. So hats off to him. Obviously, he's a youngster, first tour for him, kind of with international team, and facing Mitchell Starc and the mighty Australian bowling lineup. But his individual bowling was very superb. Especially on day one as well. Even the commentators were praising kind of a length he was basically bowling, especially to David Warner, Usman Khwaja as well, Steven Smith. These are the basically top quality batsmen. They were struggling against Khurram Shahzad. Basically the kind of high arm action he's having, a little bit in depth as well. So extremely wonderful bowling from Khurram Shahzad. As far as Amir Jamal's performance was concerned, I have never doubt as far as his bowling skills were concerned. He basically proved before, especially in PSL as well in death overs. So he can basically bowl some old ball as well. So Umar Gul will be a key for Amir Jamal and obviously for Khurram Shahzad. Both of them basically need to learn something from Umar Gul, because Umar Gul basically toured Australia a couple of times. He basically played test matches, ODIs and T20s as well. So bowling coach will be very, very crucial for these kind of youngsters. But again, Shan Masood playing, played couple of good shots, a little bit attacking cricket especially to Nathan Lyon, I would say. The kind of down the track boundaries from him. Let basically ease the pressure, especially on Imamul Haq. Basically, he was struggling, to be very honest. Imamul Haq basically needs big inning. He is the one basically against Sri Lanka in the last a test series we played in Sri Lanka a couple of months ago. Imamul Haq is the man basically who is getting 50s kind of innings. He basically needs to go big, like Imamul Haq used to Babar Azam is doing. Abdullah Shafiq basically done it in the past as well. So if we basically are expecting some kind similar kind of inning from Imamul Haq, the kind of deliveries he has faced, so we are basically more relying on Imamul Haq. So he basically needs to go big. Then again Babar Azam, Saud Shakil, then rest of all-rounders. Sarfaraz Ahmed's performance will be very crucial, because he basically performed. He is having kind of having a very good form, especially in the domestic circuit, couple of hundreds for him. So he's having a good form. So the pitch, I would say, a little bit batting kind of a track. So Pakistani, batsmen should fancy their chances. I mean,
absolutely. Ali Abbas, what can you tell us about the right length in Australia, particularly this surface? But also the fact that if you analyze Pakistan's bowlers, even the commentators were highlighting that Shaheen is not the same that they were used to seeing. And this is a guy who's just been named vice captain. And, one of the commentators even said that I don't think it's his fault. I just believe that that burden of being the spearhead of this attack is probably something that has put a weight on his shoulders.
Yeah, I think, Ahmed, listen, I'll be a little bit critical over here. There was no such burden on Shaheen Afridi. The burden was actually on Naseem Shah for the last 2 years. And Shaheen Afridi, if we talk about his pace, we started at 128, 129 today. Ahmed Jamal, on the other hand, who we don't really rate as much, started off at 128 and then after bowling really 10 to 11 overs was touching 140. So I think Shaheen just needs to do a bit of catharsis of his own performance and figure out what he wants to do. He's playing domestic formats, T20 leagues. He signed up for the IL T20. Credit to him for letting go of that particular contract. Shaheen Afridi, it's a little, okay, fine, I'm being really critical, but maybe in another 6 to 7 months, Shaheen might find himself out of the test team. Because let's say if Naseem Shah was fit right now, would you drop Khurram? Would you drop Amir Jamal, or would you drop Shaheen Afridi to accommodate Naseem Shah? That's a pretty valid question, right?
Well, you made him your vice captain, so that says a lot.
Yeah, we kept Shadab as a vice captain in the ODI format, so we are fond of making these decisions, but I think the PCB and Shaheen Afridi himself needs to figure it out because he's 23. There are strong chances that by the time Shaheen Afridi hits 25, he would only be resorted to playing as a T20 player, and we all know what happens if you let go of Test and ODI cricket. You don't survive that long in T20 cricket. If you're a good Test player, you're an amazing T20 player. Just look at the Australian T20 bowlers and the Australian Test bowlers, right? So Shaheen Afridi, take some rehab, take some rest. Do not play the New Zealand T20 series. Rest that out. Just straight away get back into the group playing the PSL because, I think the likes of Amir Jamal have shown that what bowling long spells in domestic can do for you. Khurram Shahzad has shown that as well. Shaheen Afridi, you know what? I don't know. In my opinion, Hassan Ali deserves to be playing in place of Shaheen Afridi in this team because he's the one who has done really well in Test cricket over the last 2 years as well as in the domestic format. Only talking about Test cricket in particular. So that is my harsh but humble opinion.
But Ali Abbas, it has to be in the right direction because I think what we fail to realize that the terminology fast bowling then is not something that should be used over here. Because if we're going to get these sort of 130, 135 bowlers, we've got handful. But in order to develop a fast bowler, that means that apart from Naseem Shah, Pakistan has not been able to do that as well in the past 3 years.
No, I would say that's not really the case. I do get what you're trying to say. I think we do get fast bowlers. Now we have Amir Jamal, right? He's at a pretty ripe age. We have Khurram Shahzad. It's not up to the PCB to take care of them and, just make sure they spend more time in the NC and develop that endurance to bowl long spells of 10, 11, 12 overs. Amir Jamal should be given a roadmap for the next 4 years that, hey, this is what we plan. We want to make you the spearhead of our bowling attack in Test cricket. Listen, Haris Rauf was our first choice to be playing the Perth Test match, right? Thank God that Haris Rauf decided he wants to be a T20 legend. Good luck to him with doing that, right? Amir Jamal is perfect for the balance of the team because he's an all-rounder. He can bat a little bit as well. So you are getting these bowlers, but I hope Mohammad Hafiz and Wahab Riaz have recently taken over. Hopefully they get enough time to sort of implement their philosophy, but give these bowlers a roadmap. Give Khurram Shahzad a 3-year roadmap. Give Amir Jamal a 3-year roadmap. Tell them that this is where we see you. This is where we rate you in terms of Test cricket. And I'm sure the players are going to get you the results. On the other hand, if you're going to make approaches, make philosophies based on 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months, like you've done with Naseem Shah and Shaheen Afridi, then the problems are going to rise. Shaheen Afridi has an injured knee, Naseem Shah has an injured shoulder. So you have to look after your star bowlers, make sure they get paid well with the central contract, and give them a lot of clarity because Amir Jamal can do much more than he is doing right now, and that is not an understatement of any sort. Khurram Shahzad has a lot of potential, but it's important that the director cricket and the chief selector, they give them a lot more clarity, and I'm sure they would be touching 145 in another year or so if we take good care of them.
Certainly, I think that should be a process that needs to be very consistent. Kashif, that is the case. I understand, but pace does a lot of difference. And just imagine the pace that Haris Rauf was carrying had it been more disciplined and suited for Test format. That would have made a lot of difference on this track.
Yes, and when you talk about pace bowlers, we call them pace bowlers because we expect them to produce that kind of pace which is required. But Ahmed, I would tend to disagree with what Ali has said, because you cannot discount Shaheen Shah Afridi so early. We all understand that after the fitness test and after that injury which he went through, Shaheen Shah Afridi, he did not recover fully, and he came back to play that World Cup, and then he was again injured and went to play PSL. So I think it is all because of that injury. He is not 100% fit. Maybe with the inclusion of these fast bowlers, you can give that required time period to Shaheen Shah Afridi to be fully fit, and then he can come back to the team, because we know that he is a talented bowler and he has the talent. He can, you know, make his comeback at any time which is required for Pakistan, and you need this kind of a bowler to spearhead your pace attack. Secondly, talking about Khurram Shahzad and Amir Jamal, I think it is too early to comment you know, about these two pacers and tell them that they are the future of Pakistan. We still have to see. Yes, they are talented, they have the talent, and the best part for these two bowlers is that they have been playing the domestic circuit. They have been in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy, and they have been performing in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy. And maybe that is the reason why they are performing in Australia on this difficult situation. And that is why we have been talking about our pace bowlers and our you know, individuals who are part of the national squad, that they have to go back and they have to play the longer format. They have to play Quaid-e-Azam Trophy. They have to perform in the domestic circuit so that they can prepare that temperament which is required for the test cricket and then come back and play. We all require a genuine pace bowler like Amir Jamal, who is an all-rounder, who can be termed as the next Abdul Razak, which is required for Pakistan. We really need this kind of a pace attack, and we need this kind of an all-rounder, but you have to groom him. We know and we have seen that he is a talented individual, he has the required talent, but now it is all about the grooming, how the selectors, how the coaches, they can groom this individual and make him a perfect all-rounder. We should eye for Jack Callis. He was the perfect all-rounder, and if we can develop Amir Jamal on those terms and conditions, if he can be say 50-60% of Jack Ellis, that can be very, very beneficial.
I think that's one of the things, Kashif, that makes Australia so successful, that if you look at after they recognize batters, everybody can bat up till number 11. That's
exactly
what makes a
because
difference.
this is the game plan that they have been talking about. This is the kind of mentality which is developed throughout the world, not only for Australia, but if you talk about India, New Zealand and South Africa, every individual can bat. The bowlers, they can bat to an extent that they can, you know, add 15-20 runs to the team. And look at the temperament of Khurram Shahzad, the way he is batting, the way he is defending the difficult deliveries. I think he is also a kind of individual who can go a long way for the Pakistan team. But again, Ahmed, it is all about grooming, how you develop your players. The talented players should be developed, and that comes to the coaching staff, how good the coaching staff is and what are their capabilities. Now, is Umar Gul capable enough to groom all these kind of individuals? This is we have to see.
Well, certainly, but Sabir, I think then clarity is very important. We've been carrying many players with the Pakistan squad, Shahnawaz Dhani being one of them, and you know, there will be so many individuals, but clarity is not there. They're either one time with the team, they're not with the team. So it needs to be identified, you know, certain pool of players that will be working with the Pakistan cricket team.
It is. I mean, they have been, you know, struggling to find out, you know, to find out a proper, genuine all-rounder and give him, you know, him couple of, you know, series. I would say, you know, we used to have Bilawal Bhatti under the captaincy of Misbah. Like he basically played, you know, a couple of test matches in UAE tracks. I think he was, you know, quite useful. But again, he was dropped, and then we used to have, you know, Hamad Azam as well, Anwar Ali, Amir Yamin. We have couple of, you know, fast ball, medium kind of, you know, bowlers. I mean, who can bat a bit. I mean. But this particular guy, I mean, Amir Jamal is a wonderful talent. I would say, you know, he should be, you know, I would say, you know, dealt properly as far as the longer format is concerned, you know, because he can bowl around about 135, 140 at sometimes. I mean, we have seen in PSL, like in Peshawar Zalmi as well. You know, Pakistani basically fast bowlers are struggling, especially last, you know, two to three tours. I mean, in 2016, when basically Pakistan team toured to Australia, the average speed of fast bowlers were 139. And that particular time, when Misbah was the captain, Yunus Khan was, you know, the member of the team, Asad Shafiq and Wahab Riaz as well, Mohammad Amir as well. But when they toured in 2019, the fast bowlers, average pace was basically dropped to 136. And this particular tour, Pakistan, fast bowling average is 130. So again, whenever we tour, basically, our pace basically bowling has basically dropped down 139 to 130. This was the basically major problem for Pakistan. That is the reason Wahab Riaz basically was pushing Haris Rauf to join the team. But I mean, Pakistani, basically need a genuine fast bowler. Obviously, we cannot rely on Shaheen Shah Afridi again and again, because he has been the part of the team. Obviously, he has been an injury kind of a prone kind of a player. He has been, made a vice captain as well. Extra burden basically for Shaheen Shah Afridi. Test matches, you need to have a fast bowling spells. I mean, we used to have Shoaib Akhtar's spells, Naseem Shah's hat-trick, the young kid, Wasim Akram's, Waqar Yunus kind of a fast bowling spells. I mean, so these kind of fast bowling spells basically we have been missing for so many years. I mean, that is the reason we are not a a winning kind of a team. WC, a championship, we basically come number 5, number 6 most of the time. So that is the reason basically we do not have the genuine fast bowlers for test matches. Mohammad Abbas, he has been quite okay, especially on English kind of conditions, but he basically struggled because of his pace. Most of the social media and journalists are saying Mohammad Abbas should have been the part of the team. He was the part of the team in 2019 tour. He basically bowled 25, 27 overs and conceded 100 runs. He basically did not pick up the wickets, a single wicket. So I mean, you basically need to have a genuine fast bowlers, I mean, especially in test matches.
Right. Well, we've got an update for you, and although it's a touch disappointing, UAE under-19 have beaten Pakistan under-19 by 11 runs in a semi-final of the Junior Asia Cup for under-19 cricketers at Kuala Lumpur. Of course, Pakistan had a target to chase down. It was a very modest target of 194 after UAE was bowled out on 193 in 47.5 overs for UAE. Sharma top scored with 46 runs, followed by the captain Khan scoring 55 for Pakistan. Mr. Shah was the pick of the bowlers, Ubaid Shah picking up 4 wickets. Apart from that, Asfand and Arfat Minhas took 2 wickets each and 1 wicket each for Zishan and Hassan. And if you talk about Pakistan's batting, it was a disappointing performance. Only Azan Awais scoring 41. He was run out, unfortunately. Saad Beg, the skipper, scoring a half century. Otherwise, a dismal performance. Ali Aswan got 16 and Hassan got 27 down the order, but they just couldn't chase that target down, ending up 11 runs short. That means UAE qualifies for the final. Elsewhere in the other semi-final, Bangladesh have beaten India under-19 by 4 wickets. So that means that it's going to be Bangladesh facing UAE for the final of this under-19 Asia Cup. So both India and Pakistan are now out of this tournament. So like I said, a touch disappointing, but it is what it is, and UAE have done remarkably well to defend 194 runs on the board. Ali Abbas, that being said, now coming back to the test match, particularly tomorrow when Pakistan comes out to bat, where do you see the strategy going?
Yeah, so listen, I mean, ideally we would like a mini partnership between Imam ul Haq and Khurram Shahzad. Maybe he can just swing his bat and get 20-30 odd runs, because the one thing Australia dread and do not want is Pakistan to somehow manage to bat through the day tomorrow, and they're more than capable of doing that. Having Amir Jamal in the team, we have everyone who's yet to come can bat. Shaheen Afridi is also a decent enough batsman to take on the bowler. So ideally, I think, listen, when you get hit for 487 in the first innings, yes, you can apply the baseball approach and just go for the win. But I think Pakistan are going to be a bit more pragmatic, especially after losing Shan Masood, and try to bat out the day, because it's important to save the test match now. This pitch did not behave like everyone wanted it to. It surprised Pakistan, it surprised Australia. So I would just want Pakistan to bat out the day and get somewhere close to 400. And then, take the game into the 4th day with Australia still having to assert some sort of domination. That's the next goal. So yeah, but I think it all starts if we can get a mini partnership between Imam ul Haq and Khurram Shahzad, 20, 30, 40 odd runs. That's what I'm looking forward to. And yeah, I think everything can just build up from there.
Well, certainly I would fancy 400. I think I would take that any time of the day if they can get that. If they can get even 50 more runs, I think the less the lead is, the more chances of Pakistan to make a comeback. But Ali Abbas, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Kashif and Sabir, thank you very much to you as well. Well, of course, tomorrow when Pakistan comes out to bat, it's going to be very, very interesting, and we're hoping that we get as close as we can to that Australian trail, and then if Australia is put into bat, then Pakistan is able to wrap it up and chase it down in a test match. Who wouldn't want to win in Australia after so many years? That wraps it up from me and the entire team. It's goodbye for now.